Okay, hey guys, how are you all going? Good. That was a question, not a rhetorical question. And just want to say, everyone's talks have been really interesting, and I'm going to start off mine with a story. When I was 12 years old, I knew a girl called Sarah. By the way, this isn't, if your name is Sarah, this isn't about you. Or it might be about you. Sarah had a gift. She was basically, she had perfected her own technique of using your Year 7 marks to predict the ATAR you would get 6 years in the future. And she thought that she was very much blessed. And she was the kind of person, who would hand in 20 pages worth of work for an assignment that only asked for half a page. And a very overkill kind of person, doing everything to the extreme. And I remember there's one particular incident. I was in geography class and I was with Sarah. And Sarah said, Isha, I'm going to get 7 A's this year. And I said, okay. The next day, we met in geography class and she said, Isha, I got 7 C's. By the way, that's a pun as well. And then she hit breaking point and she wasn't talking to me the whole day. Long story short, I found out the next day that Sarah, she had basically gotten all her exams, gone home, started a bonfire, chucked them all in, and the bonfire was now out of control, and she was about to call 000, except she had a hose nearby, so that was lucky for her. And you could say her parents were not very pleased about that. And, the moral of the story is obviously don't underestimate Year 7s. Actually, jokes, it's don't take exams so seriously. Don't be a Sarah. And as a disclaimer, no Sarahs were harmed in this true story. Okay, so are you like Sarah to a less extreme degree? Like, do you find it hard to cope up with bad results if you get them? Well, you're not really alone, you see, because in an insanely smart and talented school like Baulko, where competition is pretty stiff, you can still actually succeed and have a good time while you're doing it. You see, I find that our school sometimes is too good, and except too good can actually be pretty stressful. And the recipe for stress at Baulko seems to be a heck of a lot of salt, a lot of snakes, and a lot of expectation from teachers, parents, and yourself. But great expectations also make it really difficult for you to enjoy the person you are when you're, not at school, and what you achieve when you're studying. At the start of the HSC, I was pretty worried. And now I look back and I think, why did I make myself feel so worthless because of some number I saw on some silly sheet of paper? And more importantly, why did I make myself feel like others were better than me just because they had a higher number on their paper? It took me a year, but now I've actually changed my thinking, and I'm so much more comfortable in who I am. So from a senior student to maybe another, this is what I've learned during my HSC year about approaching your exams with happiness and not fear, as is generally the case with some of the people in my grade and the school. And I'm really happy with everything. I hope that you can also feel that at one point in your schooling. Now, how awesome is it to think that 13 years ago we were learning how to write letters A, B, C, D. And 13 years ago I was also getting the B's and the D's confused. And so I had this little cheat way. When I wrote the B's and the D's, I kind of did both of them and I joined them. And then I said, whichever one works. And that was pretty cute. But now, as a Year 12 student, we and I very uncomfortably can write 3 1,000-word advanced English essays in 2 hours. And English teacher sitting at the back, thank you for teaching us how to do this. It's very difficult. And so the progress you've made is really amazing. And I hope that we really are happy with where we are heading, and because I do feel like I'm, doing everything, I feel like I'm okay at the moment. And I hope that you can experience that too. I learned to enjoy the good and the bad of these 13 years, and that's really important. And okay, anyway, let's get to the main point. There are 3 things I did to become a more positive person and therefore a more positive student. The other way around. Okay, the first thing I learned this year was that stop pushing so hard if, something isn't working, because success tends to happen when you're more relaxed. Okay, consider the following. You're in the cross country and you're doing great and you get a terrible leg cramp. Obviously, you probably didn't, stretch very well, or you're probably just really unfit like me. And it's so painful and you have to stop, right? You have to stop. Naturally, it seems like the right thing to do. So why can't we apply this more to our studies, right? Like, if something isn't happening the way you want it to happen, why do we keep pushing hard? Okay, let it be for a while. We should learn to be a bit more comfortable with how we're feeling. With bad feelings, feelings of not getting what you want. For example, if you do bad in something, don't let your first reaction be, that's it, I'm going to get 100% in the next test, because generally if you really, really study hard, that's not really going to happen yet. I believe that, our brain is a little bit like quicksand. That is like, the more you try to move against the brain, the harder it tries to, the harder it is to pull yourself out. When you're gentle and you go with the flow of your brain, like where it wants to lead you, the brain is pretty obedient. It listens to what you want it to do. So the first thing to do is to just let go and firstly find out what you did wrong. That's the more objective step to do it. And trust me when I say this, but at a school like Baulko, I've really found that intelligence at one point doesn't really determine your marks to a very large extent, because mostly everyone is on equal footing. It's really about how you're studying that's making the deal, and this is something I realized during the HSC. So if you're doing poorly, if you're like me, don't really think that it's because you're intrinsically, less smart than your friends. You are. It's just that you're not really studying properly, and once you crack the code as to what works for you, you can watch your performance skyrocket because you deserve it. So don't push so hard and learn to play it more strategically. Okay, that's the first stage. The next stage is like, okay, you got a bad mark, and now after letting go, how do you become more optimistic? Because generally what happens is when you get a bad mark, you tend to kind of feel pretty upset, don't want to do anything about it. But the trick I found is actually in the way I was speaking to myself and the way I was using, the words I was using to describe myself. You see, the first thing to gain more confidence as a student is to actually change how you're viewing the learning process. And there is a simple way to do that, I think. I want you to add an extra word next time you think about something that's basically gone wrong. And that word is yet. For example, you're walking out of Mr. Simmons' B15, you've got your half-yearlies and you failed perms and comms. That's really nasty. Don't say I'm not good at maths. Walk out and say I'm not good at maths yet, and that basically makes you feel a lot better. And there's a reason for this. In psychology, it's called the growth mindset. For example, it's really about saying to yourself, I know people are more talented than I am, but I reckon if I put a little bit more effort in, I can probably reach the same level. So, just because you can't do X now doesn't mean you can never do X. That's the basis of the growth mindset. And it really helps. I found it helped me a lot this year. It means, yes, you'll have to work more for it and longer hours, but that's fine because you'll still get where you want to be. And that leads me to my last point. How does one minimize future stress? Because we know that's going to keep coming and coming like your assignments. You have the option to do what you... And lastly, the thing you have to realize is that you have choices. Okay, you have the option to basically do what you like and minimize all the stress that is in your future. For example, don't really be, so influenced by what others say, especially snakes in our school, scaling and internal marks and external marks. We know a lot of those people. But a lot of stress can actually be avoided by choosing strategically. For example, if you're not performing well in a particular subject, consider whether you're really cut out for this subject at the moment. Can you perform reasonably well in 1 year with 5 other subjects that you need to balance? If not, don't try to force yourself to do that subject. Okay? Deep quote, don't be a rectangular block that that's cramming itself continuously into a circular hole. Try and find a little rectangular hole and slot through. From my personal experience, I chose to do 4-unit maths in year 12, which I thoroughly enjoyed, but I found a bit challenging at times. And yes, I had to work harder at it, and it's getting better. But the message is to not really overload your plate with things are going to be a little bit more difficult for you to do in 1 year. A lot of us, I'm sure, would probably think about what subjects we would choose again if we could go back. There is a difference between giving up and playing to your strengths. I don't think the HC is a time to try something new. Pick your strengths and do well at it. We're all talented, but in different ways. So, in the words of Albert Einstein, my favorite scientist, if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it's always going to feel stupid. So if you're a fish, try to swim. don't climb trees. And finally, another thing I've realized is the HSC is not an end-all because, it seems that way, but unfortunately, this is something you have to realize when you're on the other side. It doesn't seem like as scary as it used to seem. And here I am at the end of my talk, and Year 12 of course, and I'm looking back and thinking, wow, we've come a long way, Baulko 2016, and Year 7's a long way to go. And the biggest thing I've learned now after 13 years is it doesn't really matter where you're heading as long as that place is forwards. Okay? So take it easy and try to seize every day you have with happiness, because happiness is more important than stress, obviously. And do that and the rest will come automatically. Thank you and good luck.